Did you
So
play,
we had to.
Did you play a personal role in Islamizing the army?
To the extent that in my lectures and even now when I go to visit various institutions, Islam certainly is the cardinal point. It is the scarlet thread in all my speeches, in all my utterances, in my writings.
And you don't
I'm
think,
not ashamed of it.
and you don't think that you've done any sort of disservice to the
No,
brand
no,
of
I
Islam?
have done service in this because that is the real inner
Many say
core
that,
of Pakistani society.
Many say that it is because of people like yourself. It is because of the policies of powerful generals like yourself that Pakistan today and the region today is suffering because of a certain brand of Islamization.
Look, again, I have to say the motivation in the Afghan nation was in the name of faith and freedom. And we had to support that because we had to do a job. It was a professional job and it had to follow a professional criteria. And that was done. Now it has happened. At that time, why the Americans were doting over the Mujahideen? They used to call them Muj out of admiration, and their flowing robes and their long beards and their big turbans and their chappals. They were a very good looking sight in the Western capitals. They used to admire all this.
We have to take a short break here. You are watching Talk Back with Lieutenant General Hameed Gul of ISI fame. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk Back. We are with Lieutenant General Hameed Gul of the ISI. You defended the ISI a little after, actually quite a bit after your retirement in the Herald in January 2001 in an interview. The question was, why do the intelligence agencies exercise so much unwarranted influence? A good old question every Pakistani wants to know.
Yes.
And the answer was basically the political system does not work and the ISI is a very reliable and experienced institution. Others have tried, like civilians running the IB, and have failed to take over the functionings of the ISI. Thus, everybody relies on the ISI, including political governments. This is the natural domination of an institution which is superior in its functioning. You are defending the ISI just because everybody else has failed.
Yeah, of course, this is a law of nature.
Aren't you for building civilian institutions?
No, I am, but when the civilian institution is not coming up in a certain environment, in a certain ambience.
Don't you think it's been suppressed at the expense? Don't you think it is at their expense that the ISI or
Why?
other
I'm
military
telling
intelligence
you,
agencies?
I'm telling you that even the civilian governments have been using the ISI. Why have they been using the ISI? Because it's a sharp instrument.
Do you think
and they want to use it?
Do you think that qualifies the ISI or any other military intelligence apparatus for intervention in the politics of this country?
It is not the fault of the knife how it is used. If it is used for carving, if it is used for cutting vegetable, if it is used for committing harakiri.
So it's a knife.
Or it's a knife. It's not the fault of the knife that it is sharp.
What about other knives? Just one tool in the kitchen? Is that all we need?
That's what they are at the moment, unfortunately, because the manpower of the ISI. And remember that Rajiv Gandhi was approached by his 3 service chiefs. I was still in command of the ISI. And they requested him, we want something like the ISI. So ISI was very unique. And it has a certain aura around it, which was much larger than the size, the resources of the ISI.
So you don't want to build up civilian institutions.
No,
you are okay with the ISI being the only knife in the kitchen.
Not at all. I have not said this. I said this knife is used because it happens to be sharp knife. And why is it sharp? Because it is motivated insofar as its manpower is concerned.
So civilians aren't motivated, that's what you're saying.
It's motivated because the manpower comes from the 3 services and they are serving officers.
And serving officers are more motivated than civilians.
They are, this is absolutely right. And that's why.
So civilians are no good.
I am not saying that. I am for building up civilians. I am fighting now for democracy against the army being involved. In that, I want to save the army from all the damages that it is suffering today. I think this question regarding the ISI must be asked of the current incumbents. They should be asked, why is ISI being used again and again and again?
Don't you think it's the job of the elected representatives of this country?
Why don't they do their job? Why don't they do their job?
You tell me, General, you're the one who's been in uniform, because this is what you think really of them. You said, Herald, January 2001, in the same interview, the question was, but ultimately the question is that the security apparatus has to accept civilian governments, at the very least, as equals. Why have they failed to do so? And your answer was, I'm simply saying that these problems would not exist if politicians did not attempt to compromise security. So politicians compromise security just because the politicians,
Yes, politicians
and the army does not compromise security just because it's the army.
I am not talking in today's environment, but in that environment, this is 2001. Yes, if you have to roll back the nuclear program, for instance. Now, Benazir is virtually wanting to give access to AQ Khan. We know very well that it's not AQ Khan which is the target, neither his underground network, but it is our nuclear capability which is the target. And what is he saying about it? What are the other people they are?
But that's one incident. This is 2001.
No, there are many other incidents. There are people who have said.
This is a blanket statement, General.
Politicians have been saying that we'll come back riding on the back of Indian tanks into Pakistan. There are many things that one simply cannot, because of my professional ethics, I cannot come up with the names who have been visiting.
No, that's
Indian,
fine, but this is a rather sweeping statement. You're saying
visiting Israel.
You're saying, I'm simply saying that these problems, and you're categorically saying that everything would be hunky-dory if politicians did not attempt to compromise security.
Yes, they should go to, if they want to compromise on Kashmir or any other issue, then they must go to the voter, win their support.
All right, CIA, one of your favorite subjects. You've spoken vehemently against them, time and again, post-retirement. But detractors say that it is because of policies of officers like yourself, especially during the heyday of the Afghan war, that the CIA actually came to this region in the first place, that the CIA actually got to know the terrain and the geopolitics, that people like you were hand in glove with the CIA.
CIA was always there, and when I came in 1987, March 29th, CIA was present. The Afghan jihad had been going on for a number of years.
Nobody's saying that the CIA came when you came, General. What I'm saying is that it was because of policies like yours.
What policies? What policies are they talking about?
You were operational in the jihad hand in glove with the CIA, General.
No, but this was after the event. The Soviet Union, a historical event took place. A hapless country, neighbor of Pakistan, brotherly country, that was attacked by a superpower for no rhyme or reason. They were their friends and they attacked them. Now, we had calculated, everyone else had agreed with it, that the next step would be Pakistan, because one mistake leads to another. And so, this was the direction which invaders through Central Asia have always taken, haven't they? They have, through the ages, this is going on. The birds, the waters, the winds,
right, but this is
and the invaders, they have always come from that direction, and they go right down into South Asia.
We know the historical perspective,
Yes.
but this is what you said recently as last year, last March, to the Dawn. And you said the present rulers had transformed the army into a tool of imperialism. You're referring to the present rulers, you're referring to the Musharraf administration. Hadn't your administration, your regime,
No,
also
not at all,
transformed the army
not at all.
into a tool of imperialism?
No, it was not tool of imperialism. If imperialism wanted to fight alongside Pakistan, this great conflict in Afghanistan, then it was their choice. They came in, good luck to them. And if they benefited from it, again, if we could not, so far at least, but this is not the end of the story.
So the Afghan jihad was just Pakistan?
There was a coinciding of interest. You must remember, at that time there was a coinciding of. In this case, it is because of coercion that we are acting against our own interests. So now we are the tool of the imperialism. At that time we were not.
So your generation helped out Reagan, and that's not imperialism. And this generation helped out Bush, and that is imperialism. That's the general perception, General.
The Reagan said of the Afghan Mujahideen, quote unquote, they are the moral equivalents of our founding father. This is what they said, and the same people are terrorists now. My position, I am talking of myself, my position is, that time it was right, this time it is wrong.
We have to take a short break here. We're talking to Lieutenant General Hameed Gul of the ISI. Stay tuned to TalkBack.